I couldn't actually believe what I was hearing yesterday. The Tories think that they're the good guys. It talk about delusional. So I actually thought business questions was going to get a little bit boring. Previously, we had Penny Mordaunt, who went off on some pretty mad tangents.
I'm to be installed, rather like a new boiler, into number 10 next week.
Then we had Chris Philp stinking out the place with his lame jokes, which the leader of the House actually called out yesterday.
The Home Secretary, the Science Secretary, the Culture Secretary, Health Secretary, Education Secretary, Chief Secretary, Schools Minister and the Prime Minister's PPS all had free tickets too. What were they doing? Having a cabinet meeting at the concert?
I have to say, a slight upgrade in the jokes on some of his predecessors.
And now we have Jesse Norman, who's probably going to be just as bad. Going on his opening remarks, I mean, they really did make me chuckle. He actually thinks the Tories are the Jedi. Now, I'm a bit of a Star Wars nerd, but for some of you that might not make any sense. So allow me to briefly explain. In the world of Star Wars, there's two main groups that symbolize good and evil. On one side, you've got the Jedi, the guardians of peace and justice. They're like the noble warriors standing up for what's right, even if that means fighting against overwhelming odds. Then there's the Empire, a massive authoritarian force ruled by powerful leaders who prioritize control and order, often by any means necessary. I hope you see where I'm going with this. However, the Tories think that they're the Jedi in this situation, and it's just madness. If we just look back over the past 14 years, the Jedis in Star Wars are defenders of democracy, resisting central control. However, under the Tories, we've seen moves to concentrate power, whether through limiting judicial review, reducing local government autonomy, or withdrawing the UK from the European Union. Decisions that have effectively increased central control. Like the Empire, which uses its might to monitor and suppress dissent. The Conservatives have expanded police powers, implementing stricter surveillance policies and attempting to restrict protest rights. And the Jedi serve to protect people, regardless of wealth, status or power. Does this really sound like the Tories? Their policies over the years have cut taxes for the wealthy, cuts to the welfare programs, and policies that have deepened economic divides. This widening wealth gap is more in line with the Empire's tendency to serve the elite few rather than being the Jedi-like champions of everyday citizens. The Jedi were supposed to inspire hope, while the Empire controls through fear. The Conservative messaging has at times played on fears of immigration, national security, and the economy, just to justify stricter policies or austerity measures. And that's not to mention the rule of two, a master and apprentice. The master wields the power, while the apprentice looks to overthrow the master and claim it for themselves. We've constantly seen them infighting, stabbing each other in the back, just to try and gain power. Boris Johnson and David Cameron, Boris Johnson and Theresa May, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson. They're constantly trying to cut each other down and get to that top spot. Do you think they'll ever realise that they are not the good guys?
Madam Deputy Speaker, the last few days in global politics have been extraordinary, featuring one of the most incredible comebacks of modern times. It was wildly hard to predict. Many people have panicked at the possible consequences. Some are still in a state of denial. But even so, I must say I am delighted to have been appointed as Shadow Leader of the House of Commons. And of course, I pay tribute to my immediate predecessors, the Luke Skywalker of the Conservative Party, the Right Honourable Member for Croydon South, and of course the great Obi-Wan, Jedi sabre-wielding master or mistress of the dispatch box herself, the former member for Portsmouth North, Penny Mordaunt. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, as with the Galactic Empire, so it is with the Labour Party.
Are we the baddies?
Tom Tugendhat thought he had a gotcha question, but that really backfired, and you can see that happening in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.